The human respiratory and gastrointestinal tracts are lined with a dynamic biological shield. This mucosal surface relies on constant mucociliary clearance and resident antimicrobial molecules to defend against pathogenic invasion. Viruses are obligate intracellular parasites. They carry no replication machinery of their own, meaning they must physically breach the surface barrier and hijack a host cell's ribosomes to survive. This creates a strict spatial dichotomy for the immune system. It must execute two completely different tactical operations simultaneously: neutralize free-floating virions in the extracellular space, while selectively destroying host tissue that has already been compromised. The first defensive countermeasure occurs directly within the mucus. High concentrations of secretory IgA act as localized traps, binding incoming pathogens and blocking viral attachment before they can establish productive cellular replication. If a pathogen bypasses this initial trap, the host relies on a rigid, sequential architecture of defense. This cascade moves strictly from entry prevention to replication inhibition and finally to targeted cellular elimination. This escalation creates an inherent biological tension. The immune response must deploy lethal biochemical force to clear the virus, yet it must do so without causing fatal collateral damage to the surrounding host tissue. Defeating a viral pathogen is ultimately a race against time. It requires a flawless chronological escalation across both innate and adaptive systems to halt a systemic cellular takeover. When a virus pierces the cellular membrane, it immediately unpacks its entire genetic payload into the host's cytoplasm. The innate immune system detects this localized intrusion using pattern recognition receptors, which constantly scan for foreign molecular signatures like double-stranded RNA. This cross-section shows separate surveillance zones. TLR3 inspects endosomes, while RIG-I patrols the cytoplasm, directly binding viral RNA. Once bound, RIG-I initiates a rapid signaling cascade via MAVs, activating factors IRF3 and IRF7. These migrate into the nucleus to drive massive extracellular secretion of type 1 interferons, specifically IFN-α and IFN-β. Type 1 interferons do not directly kill viruses. Instead, they operate as molecular warning flares, diffusing outward to induce a fortified antiviral state in neighboring uninfected cells. This tracks the paracrine signaling loop. Secreted interferons lock on to the IFN-R receptor of a neighboring cell, triggering the JAK-STAT pathway and driving the ISGF3 complex directly into its nucleus. This immediate nuclear translocation induces hundreds of interferon-stimulated genes, forcibly overriding the cell's normal operating priorities. This animation details one primary gene product, protein kinase R. It binds to viral double-stranded RNA, activates, and locks on to EIF2-alpha, physically jamming the ribosome to halt protein translation. Simultaneously, the OAS pathway activates RNase L, an enzyme operating as cellular scissors to completely shred both viral and cellular RNA. The type 1 interferon response executes a scorched earth protocol. By establishing a barren environment where viral replication machinery is forcibly starved of material, the host buys the immune system critical time to mobilize. While molecular alarms halt local replication, innate cellular defenses arrive on site. Natural killer cells enter the tissue, acting as early, localized executioners. Viruses routinely attempt to evade the adaptive immune system by purposefully downregulating the infected host cell's surface expression of MHC class I molecules, hiding their antigens from T cells. This creates a vulnerability defined by the missing self hypothesis. An NK cell probes a target. Because the virus removed the MHC-I markers, the NK's inhibitory receptors find no molecular lock. Without that inhibitory signal, activating receptors dominate the interaction, triggering a lethal positive activation cascade. The primary mechanism is the Perforin granzyme pathway. A circular Perforin pore assembles into the membrane, allowing lethal granzymes to rush into the target cell. By injecting these granzymes, the NK cell bypasses chaotic inflammatory necrosis. Instead, it triggers caspase activation, forcing the infected host cell into highly controlled programmed apoptosis. NK cells can also dictate this apoptosis via the death receptor pathway, utilizing surface molecules like Fast ligand or TRAIL to manually trigger the target's internal self-destruct sequence. Because they do not require prior antigen-specific sensitization to act, NK cells operate as immediate rapid response units. They plug the defensive gap during the critical days required for adaptive immunity to calculate a targeted response. Connecting this localized innate destruction to a systemic adaptive response requires a biochemical bridge, the dendritic cell. Dendritic cells continuously sample the local environment, phagocytosin the apoptotic debris of the cells recently executed by NK cells and degraded by RNase L. This schematic details intracellular antigen processing. A cylindrical proteasome degrades captured viral proteins into short peptide fragments, which are pumped via the TAP transporter into the endoplasmic reticulum. Inside the ER, peptides load onto waiting Y-shaped MHC class I molecules. The assembled peptide MHC-I complex traffics to the cell surface. Now carrying the exact molecular blueprint of the pathogen, the mature dendritic cell migrates out of the infected tissue and into the lymph nodes to find and activate naive T lymphocytes. Without this precise sequence of proteasomal processing and MHC-I presentation, the massive, highly targeted firepower of the adaptive immune system would remain permanently locked away. Once adaptive clearance is initiated, it operates on two simultaneous parallel tracks: cellular eradication and humoral neutralization. Cellular eradication is driven by CD8+ cytotoxic T lymphocytes. These CTLs recognize the precise viral peptide MHC-I complex displayed on the surface of actively infected cells. The CTL execution phase directly mirrors the innate NK cells' Perforin granzyme and fast ligand mechanisms, but it operates entirely on strict antigen-specific precision. This highlights the spatial imperative of the cellular response. CTLs are strictly intracellular effectors, deployed specifically to dismantle active viral manufacturing plants hidden inside host tissue. The extracellular defense is managed concurrently within the lymph node, coordinated by CD4+ T follicular helper cells. This maps the germinal center interaction. A T follicular helper cell docks with a B cell, driving somatic hypermutation. The B cell multiplies rapidly, shedding massive quantities of specific Y-shaped IgG and IgA antibodies. These flood the extracellular space, binding directly to receptor binding sites on free-floating virions. Neutralizing antibodies are strictly a preventative measure. They cannot cure a cell that is already compromised. They only block extracellular virions from infecting new targets. However, the immune system utilizes one specific mechanism to merge these parallel tracks: antibody-dependent cellular cytotoxicity, or ADCC. This diagram illustrates ADCC in action. Antibodies bind to viral antigens stranded on the surface of an infected host cell. An NK cell then utilizes its CD16 receptor to lock onto the exposed tail of that attached IgG antibody, marking the cell for destruction and triggering immediate targeted killing. ADCC perfectly marries the extreme hyperspecificity of adaptive antibodies with the immediate, overwhelming cytotoxicity of innate NK cells. Total viral eradication requires this complete dual envelopment. Neutralizing antibodies lock down the extracellular spread, while cytotoxic T lymphocytes methodically dismantle the intracellular factories. As the active infection is finally cleared, the heavily taxed tissue begins the slow return to homeostasis. The host secures long-term protection through immunological memory. Long-lived plasma cells retreat to the bone marrow, continuously producing baseline levels of neutralizing antibodies. Locally, tissue-resident memory T cells remain embedded at the infection site. Settling deeply into mucosal tissue, they form a vigilant tripwire for rapid secondary responses. Pathogens constantly evolve evasion tactics against this network. By mutating antibody epitopes or establishing deep viral latency, they repeatedly attempt to bypass these established memory defenses. This structural table reviews the completed three-layer architecture. Phase 1 prevents viral entry using physical barriers and secretory IgA. Phase 2 stops replication using type 1 interferons and ISGs. Phase 3 eliminates infected cells using CTLs and NK cells. These distinct phases operate as a singular, strictly integrated biological cascade. This system presents a harsh biological paradox. The severe tissue damage, vascular leakage, and organ dysfunction observed in clinical viral diseases are frequently caused by the host's own aggressive CTLs and inflammatory cytokines like IL-6 and TNF. A successful immune response requires a highly calibrated biochemical equilibrium. The ultimate objective is to deploy exactly enough force to eliminate the active threat while sparing the biological infrastructure of the host.